Here we are. Hey! Welcome to Super Serial Showtime, everybody. As always, I am your host, Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer, who did actually show up today on location, but due to the dangerous storm that was out earlier, I wasn't sure if you were going to show up at the beginning, if you were going to come in later, or at all, because if you were still on the road, I definitely would not want you on the show with how it was out there.
Yeah. I was marooned by a monsoon.
Yeah.
Marooned by a monsoon.
Yeah. It was a
It's
huge
crazy.
dust storm came through again, and right on its heels, it's like it was the thing pushing it was a crazy downpour. Actually, it rained during the dust storm too. That's probably why the car was covered with mud.
Yeah, so weird. It was basically just raining muddy water for a little while. And then it became regular rain. But I would say a stronger downpour than I have ever seen here in the Phoenix area since I moved here like 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, whenever it was.
Even that crazy one earlier in the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, this was way stronger. Like, it was knocking down trees. It was like a hurricane.
It must have been like picked up steam by the time it made it to you, because like it downpoured really hard, but it didn't seem that bad.
Well, I looked at on like weather.com, and it's a huge cell, but like only the northern, third of it got really, really, really strong. So if I'd left like an hour earlier, I would have missed all that. But unfortunately, like to get here, there's only one road that I have to drive on, and it was constantly just like 2 out of 3 lanes were just closed because there's a fucking tree covering up, more than half the road.
Yeah, well,
Tree
just like
after
with
tree,
Final
they're just
Fantasy VIII, your day was ruined by a horrible squall.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Amusing. Yeah, so, and I was like, okay, well, I can handle this. It's fine. I just needed to drop off some stuff and then head home. But then just before I got here, there was like a huge, like, pond in the street that, I was driving a really low down, sports car and barely got through it. And I was like, oh man, there's bound to be more of this if I drive, 30 miles to get home. So it's like, I better just stay here and hope that it evaporates by tomorrow, drains away. Just wasn't safe, so I hunkered down. And here I am.
Sorry to respond to
And
my
of course-
brother about something, but yeah, you can keep going.
Sorry about that, chat. I'm going to try to mute myself, but the dust storm absolutely destroyed me right before the rain. So, yeah, Fitzjozo, thanks. He sent me a link to a dubbed version of Monster.
Oh, nice.
Maybe we can try that out.
I could have easily found a dubbed version, but we would have had to then probably put like a device plugged into the TV. But the reason we've been watching it subbed is because it was easily available on like streaming services.
Yeah. Oh, I had started to text him and I forgot to hit enter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only problem, is that if it's only online, we've been watching on TV. So.
Which really isn't a problem. Like, I've said many times, if necessary, I could just bring my laptop out there and just plug it into the TV. It's not hard. I've done it already.
Yeah. Not hard. It's just slightly harder than picking up the remote, pressing a few buttons.
Yeah, you have to be almost preemptive about it, right? Like, you have to think, like, I want to watch this thing today.
Yeah. But, maybe we can watch an episode and see what the voice differences are. But honestly, the sub is not the reason it's taking so long. I'm enjoying the show. It's just, other things have popped up and,
Yeah.
it's a little bit slow and, but I'm enjoying it. I still want to watch it. And I enjoy the sub is fine. Don't mind it at all.
Yeah, and this is like my third or fourth time watching it, so like I'm not in a rush to watch it again necessarily.
Yeah.
I always enjoy it, but we're watching it at your pace.
Yeah. You're not like, oh, let's watch, 5 episodes in a row or anything. So I'm like, okay, let's, every once in a while, we're like, let's watch another episode. It's fine. I don't have to watch it in a given period of time, Still enjoying it.
I don't think we watched anything recently. I mean, I know we finished Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Which I said when we finished that too, that was probably the perfect spot to actually finish the series on, and I bet they knew that too. That's why they did it. Because he pretty much ended his career as like a special agent, right?
Mm.
He could go into politics from there. It is following a different storyline than the actual books do, but like I've told you, he does become president. And so it's like, yeah. There's a lot of espionage and other stuff that happens while he's president with him involved. But as far as like a show that's focused on kind of like the early days of Jack Ryan, that's probably like the absolute perfect spot to just end it and leave everything up to the imagination.
Mm. Well, I've seen Clear and Present Danger, so I knew he became president, and then, then that happened. Yeah, that was perfect. I wouldn't, you were saying this. I don't think it would be particularly interesting to watch him run for president. I mean, I guess they'd have to time jump to when he is president, but then they'd have to age him up because it would be years later.
Or maybe they're waiting, right? Like, that's why it hasn't ran in a while. Maybe they're going to bring it back after he is a few years older and be like, he ran for president at that time.
Sorry,
like,
what was that?
We're not gonna pay for makeup. We're gonna let time do it. In a few years, we'll come back and you'll play Jack Ryan again.
Yeah, maybe they'll do a couple more seasons and 2 more years. I feel like it ended in what, 2023, right? Or
I think so. It's been a couple years since it ran.
They must have filmed it years ahead of time because the 3rd season was only 6 episodes, and I'm betting that that's because of COVID. They were just like, okay, let's wrap this up, and then
maybe
because how else would they have, the show went on 2020 through 2023. So
yeah, I mean, the last season, which I think was like the shortest season, could have also been that's all they had. Like, they just wanted to make it a really big budget go out season. They had already planned it to be shorter, and that was like that was them having the same budget per season but using more per episode.
I guess, but I mean, it was more than twice as many episodes, or half as many episodes.
Yeah.
Like I could see them going from 13 or 14. I forget if it was 13 or whatever, to like 10.
But there's only like 6,
yeah. And the fact that it came out in 2020 in the middle of COVID tells me they had to have been filming this years in advance.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
No show is filmed like. Well, I wouldn't say no show. There's some, but most shows aren't filmed like months before they come out or anything like that. Especially with the level of effects that get put into things now. The only thing that actually gets filmed close to when it comes out are like soap operas because they're filming every single week.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't think most shows are filmed like 3 years in advance.
Usually it's 1 to 2 years in advance, right? Which is why you get like, on average, you get a 3-season contract, right? So you can have all three of those seasons finished before any of them are close to airing.
Yeah. Well, I think they were 100% finished before they even started airing it. Kind of interesting. I mean, it's, you might have had other things to show, and just we're like, oh, well, why not hold on to this one? And then it worked out because, it came out right in the middle of COVID. What else are people going to do but watch TV?
Fizz asks what show we're talking about. I did already mention it, but we're just giving our wrap-up thoughts because we finished Jack Ryan before we move on to other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I thoroughly enjoyed.
Did we talk about this at all? Like what any of the seasons were about?
Yes, yes. We covered most of it, actually.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was last week or, it might have even just been this last week, or it might have been the week before. But within the last couple shows, we did talk about the fact that we were watching Jack Ryan.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a great show. I mean, I've been really surprised by a lot of these shows on Amazon that are not Lord of the Rings based.
Yeah. I want to say that it was exactly last week because of the Splinter Cell animation news. Because I linked those two together. That's why we started talking about Jack Ryan, is because there was other Tom Clancy news in the feeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But did we actually talk about what the plots were at all, or I can't remember.
I know we at least talked about the first one with the fringe terrorist group, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's a show though that
each season kind of led a bit into the next, like same characters, and you saw character progression throughout. But at the same time, each season was very clearly like a singular, self-contained adventure, right?
Yeah.
So that was,
actually almost every season was kind of about a fringe terrorist group, just from like different locations and cultures.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But it's one of those ones I don't want to talk too much about the plot. I'd rather talk about just how we feel about it. Just because I wouldn't say it's the least predictable thing ever. There were a lot of times that I was like, I know where that's going to be. I know where that's going to be. But that's okay. You want to be rewarded for following along and guessing things. But still, I think it is one of those things where the journey and seeing things unfold is a big part of the enjoyment. So, like, it's one of the things I just would not want to spoil. I just go and watch it.
Yeah. I mean, we can get a vague overview.
Yeah. But that wasn't even one of the things I planned on talking about today. I just brought it up slightly. If you've got anything particularly you want to say about it, feel free. Like, I'm not going to stop you. But I'll chime in too. This is muting for a few minutes. Oh, people. Yeah. He's not here today. He doesn't have the luxury of recording from his room. But I thought it was a pretty good series. I thought John Krasinski played a very realistic, believable, and charming Jack Ryan. He's one of the people I thought fit the character more than like the other couple of people that have played him. Though Bob Baldwin did an all right job. But that's about it. I don't need to rehash most of the feelings that I gave last week.
Uh-oh. Am I roboting you?
Just a tad.
Hold on.
Well, while he's muted and trying to figure that out, I'll respond to Fizz, who says that he's assuming for the Splinter Cell cartoon that someone from Addy's companies are involved. I actually don't know which production company is doing it. So let me see. Which studio is obviously the production company is Netflix, but which smaller studio is actually doing it? Let's see. It is a collaboration between Sun Creature Studios, so that's already not looking good, and Faust. Yeah, so you're perfectly right to be skeptical of it. Perfectly right. I'm mostly skeptical of it too. I want to be excited. They're probably going to ruin it. The only thing that, like I said, when the announcement happened and we were talking about it, that I'm hopeful is just because of how tight Tom Clancy's estate is on things at least capturing the spirit of his works. And so we'll see how that goes. Way tighter than the Tolkien estate even was historically before, Christopher passed. So, yeah, we'll see. There is a trailer up right now. The trailer's not enough for me to tell. I'll have to wait till more comes out on it. But perfectly right to be skeptical. Especially even Netflix. I think as far as like their major animation, the only one that was even remotely good was the one that they outsourced to a famous Japanese studio. And that was the Cyberpunk one, which is way better than the game. But let's see. There was something kind of in that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes. Things about video game adaptations. So I think as we've previously heard, there is going to be... See what Marsupial says. The perils of being stuck in a location that's not conducive to podcasting due to stupid weather. Yep, that's how it is. But we heard that there's a Gears of War movie being made, and it is being done by the director of John Wick and Deadpool 2, David... I don't know if that's Leitch or Lich. Even Licht. I don't know. It looks very German.
David Licht?
No, Leitch or Leech.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, he's making a Gears of War movie, and he's really excited because it's going to be his first war film. Which I'd be excited too if I was making my first war film. War films, if done right, are very fun types of movies to make.
Yeah. Was the John Wick director? Did he direct all of them?
It just says that he directed John Wick and specifically the second Deadpool.
Well, I guess batting 500 there.
Yeah.
Well, Leitch, I guess. Leitch.
Yeah, it looks like Leitch, but it's hard to tell with German names because it depends like what Germanic area you came from on how they pronounce that diphthong. So I'm going to just go with Leitch. Leitch seems fine. Anyway, it's going to be done with producer Kelly McCormick, and they're going to have a lot of energy around it. And there's also a new game coming out called Gears of War E-Day, so they're trying to... I don't think they're trying to tie the stories together because I think this is supposed to be older Gears of War. But, like, obviously if there's a new game coming out, you want to try to plan the hype for both of them together so they can feed off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think experiencing John Wick specifically, I could see that kind of carrying over to Gears of War. If they do it right. Obviously, like, you got to pick the biggest guys you can find to play them. Unless it's animated. I actually don't know if this is live action or not. I don't remember if it was announced it was going to be live action or not. But if it is live action, which is obviously what he's kind of used to, you have to cast, like, the biggest guys possible to play these characters. Yeah. Heck, maybe even using some of the CG that he used for Juggernaut in Deadpool 2 to make some of the bad guys that they're fighting up against, because these things are huge, Gears of War, some of the models of stuff kind of borders on the same things that you would see in Warhammer.
Yeah, kind of what it looks like. So I guess he was like co-director of John Wick, like mostly directed the action scene. So that's good, potentially.
Fizz, it's not on the big screen. This is being made for Netflix.
Gears of War. So, but is it live action?
It doesn't actually say if it's live action or not in this piece, and it's been a while since the original announcement, so I don't know. Other things that the guy directed and or co-directed, because he's done a lot of both apparently. He was involved in Atomic Blonde, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train, and The Fall Guy. So at least he knows his way around action flicks.
Yeah. But I've not heard too many good things about Fall Guy.
The thing is, I've heard tons of good things about The Fall Guy, but I'm not sure I've heard it from people whose opinion I should trust. Like, my dad and brother love it. And it's like, yeah, you would love it, wouldn't you?
Okay, so it is, from the looks of it, it's not live action.
That's probably for the best.
It's just very, very realistic CGI.
They're probably trying to make it look like the games.
Yeah.
Which it got higher fidelity as they went along.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as long as they concentrate on the war, stuff, and don't, introduce some stupid, I don't know, completely out of place plot that has nothing to do with the game. Hopefully. At least the preview is just nothing but action, but it's hard to say. Looks pretty cool. I never played them, the games, so
I played, I think 1 and 3. I know I've played the original, and I've played one of the sequels. I think it was the third one. I don't remember precisely.
Yeah.
But I played all of 1. Like, I vividly remember 1. I don't quite remember so much the sequel that I played some of.
Okay. So what is, there's clearly like weird monsters, and it looks like a dystopian future kind of a thing. But
yeah. It's kind of, the way I always saw Gears of War was one of those many games of like somebody who was a fan of the Warhammer franchise couldn't get the license for it, so they just made their own thing. And this one is mostly kind of like the war is coming to Earth. More, really fun. Bunch of original monsters because of it, but they've got things like chainsaw guns and stuff that you would expect to see in franchises like that. Really big men. Guerrilla warfare. All the fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the writer. He's done stuff that's been not terrible. in my opinion.
Yeah, what's it? John Spates, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah.
It's here and there, like Prometheus, Doctor Strange.
Prometheus.
I don't really. Well, the first Doctor Strange was good.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Yeah.
And Prometheus, I would say, kind of a return to form. I mean,
Prometheus was good until the last 15
leagues. Yeah, it was leagues better than the previous two.
The last 15 minutes, like, retroactively ruins the entire movie.
Yeah. And Dune 1 and 2.
Yeah. And Passengers,
Yeah,
which I've never seen Passengers, but the people that I know have seen it have spoken good about it, so...
Yeah.
Spoken well.
How hard is it to write a what do you call it? What's the script? Not a manuscript. When a writer writes a movie,
A screenplay?
Screenplay,
Which is also still a manuscript. It's a specific type of manuscript, but it's a screenplay, yeah.
Yeah, how hard is it to write a screenplay for Dune?
I mean, as hard as it would be to write it for almost anything, right? Because if you're a writer going in, you can't just put, and I tell people this all the time, you can't just put like montage or whatever. Like, you actually have to go and explain the shots and everything that are going to be done in the montage. You have to give like stage directions, like if you were writing a play. So even if they are walking across the desert for a long time, you do have to describe like the shot angle, how long they're going to be walking across. It's a little more complex than like the average audience member might think it is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's already been written for you, right?
Yeah, well, actually, in some ways, adaptation is harder than writing an original story, right? Because you have to figure out first blocking. You have to like what parts from the source material are going to be able to make it in the condensed time period that we have, right? That's a talent all on its own.
I suppose, but I mean, well, I guess it ended up being quite different from the first Dune movie, from whatever the 1970s or whatever.
Very different from the TV miniseries.
Yeah.
Though they had about as much time as the TV miniseries, though, between the two movies.
Yeah. But just watching the preview, it looks pretty cool to me. But so is David Bautista going to be in it or not?
We don't know yet. They don't actually have any of the casting. This is still all pre-production. It may not even be the guy's next movie. Like, he says he's excited for it, but I think he's chalked up for like a heist thriller that's coming up, How to Rob a Bank. Yeah. So it'll be the thing after that. Maybe Batista. Batista's been wanting to play Marcus for years. Like, he's been lobbying for it.
But again, it's like, I mean, I guess there's probably going to be a lot of mocap because it looks like a lot of it's going to be, probably acted out.
Yeah, they'll probably do some like facial rigging too, where they like motion capture the face movements to match it to the model, which a lot of times that actually, when you're dealing with those semi-realistic models, makes the acting better to just match what the actor was doing.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. Interesting. I might actually watch it and then finally know what the hell it's about.
Yeah. Hey, Flit, this is going to need a montage. Yeah. Dude, I've actually 3 different works, or 3 different people that I've edited works for them. One of them, animation, literally just had fight sequence in their script. I'm like, you know what? That's fine because you're the one animating it, so maybe you'll block this out later. But I'm gonna have to tell you, this is not how you write a script. You actually have to block out and explain what's happening in the fight sequence. if you were ever working with anyone outside of just yourself.
You can't just there's a fight sequence.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what kind of fight sequence? Guns, swords, fists? Like what's going on here? Are they going to go from point A to point B? Is it all going to take place in this room? You know, like actually map out what's happening here for me, you know?
That's for the director to decide.
Yep. Actually, you know what's one of the best examples is in Pretty Woman. There's a montage, and you can look up the script for that movie, and every single shot in the montage has a sentence dedicated to it. It's like a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect example of how to write a sequence that doesn't specifically have the vocalized portion of acting in it, because body language is still necessary. You're still acting even if you're not talking at the time.
Yeah. And I'm looking at a list of all of the upcoming video game adaptations.
Yeah.
And like more than half of these are really never going to happen. Like,
Oh,
they
for
don't have
sure.
a release date. You know, they're just like somebody talked about it once.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, it's definitely happening.
And some of them will just be, if they never leave pre-production, it's not production hell. But they'll be in, I don't know, production limbo forever, if you want to call it that, or, I won't even say production. They'll be in, creative limbo. I mean, like, there's somebody thinking about it, but it never gets past that stage.
Yeah. Oh, man. What is this from? IGN. They're claiming that Dredge, that fishing game, is going to get a movie.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people are waiting for is, which I don't think it's been released yet, right? But Mark's Iron Lung, right? Markiplier's. I think they're waiting to see how that performs before they go all in on making stuff on these indie games that they could easily get the rights for.
Yeah. Hey, Space Channel 5. And
Yeah, I remember when that was announced. That was one of like the couple Sega ones, and I was like, man, Crazy Taxi was the other one, yeah. And it's like, I would love a Space Channel 5 movie, because the game is basically like watching a movie anyhow, right? It's a rhythm game. There's not too much playing to it other than like rhythm game mechanics. You're more of just watching things. That would be excellent if somebody could just like, faithful to what's going on, make an adaptation of it.
Yeah. Oh, they're claiming there's going to be a Mega Man movie released directly to Netflix.
Directly?
It could be good. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, as opposed to theaters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, that could be good considering, like, I thought that the Dragon Quest movie turned out really well.
I think any of these movies could be good. It just depends, like, who's actually working on them.
Yeah. And the fact that they've basically been apparently thinking about or working on a Mega Man movie for 12 years since 2013, because that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of my favorite would-be movies that got made was years ago. I think it was announced in maybe 2010 that Eddie Murphy was looking to make a Hong Kong Phooey kind of like integrated live-action movie where, you know, it would be like how like Scooby-Doo was made with the James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies, but Hong Kong Phooey would be there. And he wanted to play Hank, the janitor / Hong Kong Phooey. And I was like, oh yeah, that would be great. You know, he could do like a great like Scatman Crothers impression, even sing like the opening theme and everything. I could see it fine. Nobody ever picked it up. He was pushing around for years. Even said hope in like 2015 that it was still going to happen. Nobody picked it up at all. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. Apparently there is a script written for a Portal movie. Although it's been written for at least 4 years, so who knows? I'm just going through this huge list.
This says, I don't
And
know if
Dragon's
Hong
Lair.
Kong Phooey is popular enough. First off, I don't think it needs to be, as long as the movie's made well, right? Older people will bring their family with them. Doesn't matter. Especially because I think most of the people who'd be interested in it are also most of the people who are interested in watching an Eddie Murphy movie. So I think that demographic is probably just a circle right there, not a Venn diagram. But I think the producers probably have the same thought as you, and that's why it never happened. But I'll tell you, it'd be fan-rific.
Indeed. I want a new Zaki-chan movie.
I don't think it'd be that hard to convince somebody to make that. It's just like if the studio has time.
Yeah.
You know, like. First, sometimes those movies are made by a different studio that does the actual series animation, so you never know.
Yep. I guess we'll see. Speaking of movies based on anime, I did start to watch just like the first 10 minutes of the Rascal Does Not Dream movie, the first one. I think there's 3, maybe 2. There's 2 or 3, and it looks good. You know, I know you weren't really into that show, but
I wouldn't say I wasn't into it. It just it was like any other show to me. We were watching it. I'm probably going to continue watching it, but we just haven't gotten around to it.
It's interesting. It picks up right where the anime left off, where he runs into the girl that he had a crush on like 3 years prior, and except that when he had a crush on her, she was a high schooler his age, and then when he runs into her 3 years later, she's a middle schooler, like like I don't know, 5 or 6 years younger. So that's weird.
Yeah.
They kind of explain, well, they at least explain right away, you know, sort of what's going on. I won't spoil it, but it's funny because she wastes no time trying to move in on, you know, Sakurajima's boyfriend. Unabashedly. Which reminded me, I'd been telling you I was gonna, of course I kind of lost the opportunity, but I was gonna tie it into Jack Ryan, because I was just thinking at the end of Jack Ryan, he had gone through so much, including like horrible torture, that he just wasn't afraid of anything at all.
Yeah.
So that was kind of amusing. He would just, you know, he didn't give a shit about anything. He's just going to do what he wants. And it kind of, the beginning of this movie kind of reminded me of that, because it's not a spoiler. You already know that she has a, you know, what do you call it? A terminal illness.
Yeah.
And she is just not afraid to go for it. Just was an interesting parallel when I watched that shortly after finishing Jack Ryan, and thinking about 2 characters who are just have nothing to lose, and they're just gonna, you know, go for what they want. We'll have to watch that sometime.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I just don't, because I haven't watched it, I don't have much to say on it. That, and I have the Hong Kong Phooey theme song stuck in my head now.
Yeah, and I don't know much either, because I just watched the first 10 minutes. Yep. I'm sure it's going to be a tearjerker for me eventually.
Maybe.
By the end, maybe. What else? What else did we watch recently?
Oh, we've been keeping up with Rory Rocks.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good show. It's funny because it's like it's so just very like educational.
I know, that's why
It's
I love it.
like watching a PBS show, but in anime form.
Yeah, yeah. I've always liked educational television when it doesn't suck. Like sometimes people just
Yeah.
they don't put the heart into it, and educational television sucks. But then you get things like the Magic School Bus, the original series, not when it came back because that one kind of sucked. But like the Magic School Bus was a great show. Love educational television, and if you can work a story into it, I like these characters. It's very grounded. It's not like the Magic School Bus in any way. It's basically as realistic as it can get. Aside from the fact that like everyone who's interested in minerals in this situation are all girls. That's like the only thing that I find kind of unrealistic, but you know, it's fiction.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that they just wanted a show about girls, and you know, they didn't have to force it. I mean, you know, you might find it a bit unrealistic, but like it doesn't feel forced to me.
Oh no, it doesn't feel
kind of
forced. It's just like you'd expect to at least see some guys walking through the geology department or something like that, but it's like the only people you ever see are women. Not that they need to be any of the main characters or not, because it's a good formula. If you want people to get interested into a subject, all you have to do is get somebody who's passionate about it to write it and fill it with cute girls, and then boom, the audience will be interested.
Yep, yep. I didn't realize that the main character, Ruri, is actually, she's in high school, right?
Yeah, we talked about that several times already.
Yeah, and her friend, and the friend that just joined them like last week. But you know, it doesn't, like we said before, it does not at all take place in the school.
No.
And it's very interesting because, like, you know, I'm sure it's not super realistic in terms of the fact that they find all these different things, like, apparently very close to where they live. Like, oh yeah, I mean, maybe it is. It just seems interesting that, like, oh, we found this crazy new mineral that's super rare and it's just right here. Yeah, Sisters is right.
I actually disagree with that.
Well,
maybe elementary. I don't know if I say preschool, right? But even like talking about the Magic School Bus being one of the biggest staples about it. A lot of like the terms that are thrown around, they'll just throw things that like a middle schooler should know, like be able to comprehend. I don't know if an elementary school student could get some of like the medical terms that are being used when they're going through the body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It varies.
Explain it pretty well.
They don't really have anything that's for anyone above the 5th grade. I would say that's pretty safe.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, this one I find fascinating. I mean, assuming all the information is accurate.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, the
Sorry,
oldest
I'm laughing at Flit.
Girl. I was just gonna say the oldest girl in the group is very buxom, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's Nagi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing that gets me every time we're watching it, like last episode too, is they're really good with keeping them on character, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing the original like manga was like that too. I don't think they fixed that or anything in the adaptation. I just haven't read the manga to be able to know. But one of the things that gets me every single time is that the undergrad student that is like the junior to Nagi, Imari, is just not built for the outdoors at all. Yeah. She is just like winded no matter where they go, which Ruri was at first, but she like quickly adapted after like outing number 2 or 3. Like she knew there was going to be a lot of hiking. Imari just like wishes she was back in the lab.
Yeah. But she, you know, she likes finally.
Oh, she's excited about it and everything.
Yeah. Kind of got dragged out to, go and actually find stuff and, follow their they have, good reasons for why they go different places. They're like, well, because of the formation of this and that and the river, this should be a good area for finding, sapphires or, other things. She's excited about that, but yeah, when she finally gets out there, she's like, oh, why did I do this?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about one thing that you brought up last time about the eye catchers, which are Nagi's respite, right? And you're like, I have to go back and pause it to read it. So I do think in general, they were probably more intended for, say, like the Blu-ray release than initially airing on TV. Like they're still just eye catchers, but it's like, oh, this will be something cool. Once people have it on Blu-ray or if they're watching on streaming, they can pause. But I don't think it's as much of a problem in Japanese as it is in English, because as I'm looking at the amount of text there, I'm like, that would be a lot more condensed and easier to read in Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that a non-phonic language, things are very, very, very condensed.
Yes, Flit. Nagi's Respite does sound like a D&D spell or potion.
I think it sounds like a location, like a a cabin in the woods or something.
Yeah, or like if you were in D&D in like a cave and there's like a hot spring in the middle of the cave, it's like, this is Nagi's Respite.
Yeah. But, it's a common trope. I mean,
yeah.
Inuyasha does it at the end of every episode. They have just, a wall of text describing a character.
It lingers for like a good 10 seconds, though, at the end of Inuyasha. Like, if you're actually paying attention, I think anybody should be able to read it in either language.
Yeah, I guess a better example would be Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would have a huge, the whole screen filled up with text describing some historical this or that,
Yeah. Well, this one's pretty bad too, right? Because a lot of them that do have some type of filler for the eye catcher, it'll be the same filler on both sides of the commercial. So if you only made it halfway through, you could kind of like remember where you were and start reading from the other half when it comes back. This one will have like two different bits of information on both ends of the eye catcher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more info than who's that Pokemon, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's Batman.
It'd be like if they if they put the entire Pokedex entry on the screen during that.
Yeah.
Read
From
this
like
in 2
multiple
seconds.
regions, actually, because like at least in the game, the Pokedex entry is pretty short, and it sounds longer in the show if you go with their version, but it's actually still only like a sentence or two being read slowly by a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, this is more like several paragraphs.
Yeah, this is like something you'd find in a child's textbook.
Yeah. But, it's funny. It doesn't bother me at all. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I bet there's a lot more information on that screen that I could never read once I pause it.
Nagi's Respite, by the way, is her desk. That's all it is. That did have a book collapse at one point in the series. Like an avalanche come down. It was really dirty when Ruri first showed up. It's been clean since then.
Yeah.
But it's a good show. If you like rocks specifically, I'm not even gonna say if you like cute girls, which that is a benefit to it. But if you like rocks, you should watch it. I do think it's a good show. I think the education's good. The pacing is good too, as a show, even without the educational content. Where I'm like we've said every time, I'm gonna continue watching it until I don't know it ends. But not much to say about any individual episode. They found what was it like? zincite or
Some
something
kind of-
like that. I think it was it. It's like,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it is.
That was forming inside of a factory, like manufacturing pipe from like the tower that had fallen over, and it was just from basically oxidation from the zinc that was inside of the pipe. It had formed crystals, made it really orange. It was cool. But I like how they have like actual explanations for how everything forms. You do learn a lot watching the show.
Yeah. And they talk about how, like, in nature, it's extraordinarily rare because of the, just the very specific sort of environment that would be necessary to create it. But in man-made structures, they have the exact ingredients, sort of, and the exact, conditions
Yeah.
for certain things.
I like how Rory became like a semi-environmentalist at a certain point just because like, pollution is making it hard for me to study rocks.
Yeah.
Then she kind of got over it. Like, she's obviously everybody doesn't want to necessarily pollute an area, like rivers and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but should I feel guilty for also enjoying that it made this cool rock?
Yeah. But they go into, like, how, I'm assuming that real, mineralogists, scientists will follow a stream and take samples and figure out, where did this particular, they might find a teeny tiny bit of some specific odd mineral, and then they have to figure out where it came from. And in this one, they did introduce the complexity, or the complexity that's introduced when the water's somewhat polluted. It's like, oh wait, this is going to screw up our measurements.
But then it turned out that the pollutant was the exact thing they were looking for to get that rock. So
Yeah.
It kind of played into it.
Yeah.
And it was the was it the manganese? And then I think that was part of what was discoloring it in the first place, and that's the thing that kept stopping them from finding everything.
Yeah, but they were tracing zinc, I believe. But anyway, this is probably incredibly boring to anyone who hasn't seen the show.
Or just isn't into like minerals or science, I guess, in general. I've always been into this stuff, so it's like, yeah, I can't get bored talking about it, but I'm sure tons of people could. Tons of people could.
Yeah, started laughing, and that made me cough. Anyway.
Yeah. So, did you know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is 35 years old?
I did not.
Yeah.
It's goes to show I am just old as dirt.
Yep, came out in 1990, right around this time.
Mm-hmm. That means I was 13 when it came out.
Flitz says, I want to see the episode where they find uranium. I'm sure something regarding radioactivity and safety measures will be an episode at some point.
Yeah, maybe. Is there uranium under Japan?
I don't know. Maybe. More likely, just because it's easier to find stuff like this, especially when we use it for cleaning stuff all the time. There might be an episode on cesium, which you would be able to find mixed in a lot of minerals, and that would be a good lesson for radioactivity without having to invoke uranium directly.
Mm-hmm. As long as you don't, they're not going to find that in the stream.
Yeah, hopefully.
It gets slightly explosive when it ends up touching water.
Well, I mean, if it's some that has been in the water for quite some time, I mean, the reaction would have already happened, but then you would have found some, what's it called? Molecular combination of cesium. You wouldn't find just pure cesium.
Yep.
But yeah. Turtles is 35 years old. How's that make... Well, the movie. Obviously, the comic is older than that. by just a bit. How's that make you feel?
I told you, old.
It just makes you feel old. That's it.
Pretty much.
Man, I don't know. To me, that is. I mean, technically, you could say Batman from the year before that is what kicked it off. But I would say that the Turtles movie is what actually turned it into a trend of the modern comic book movie that's kind of been going on since like '89, right? Because everybody just kind of looks at the MCU now, right? But we've had comic book movies almost nonstop since '89.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had
comic book movies longer than that, but there's
Superman.
kind of like a gap between like the late '70s through the '80s.
I guess, but I mean, the Superman movies were released seemingly one right after the other, but like
Yeah.
very little else.
Yeah, because all we had was Superman at that time. If you go before that, there was like all these like low budget versions. Like you can find like some old Marvel movies and stuff. Superheroes started getting moved straight to TV at that point, right? There was a couple other stuff. Like there was the 80s Supergirl movie. But a lot of this stuff was just like nobody went to see it. Right. I think starting with Batman in '89 is when you actually have people going to see comic book movies again, and things aren't just relegated to TV. And especially when you look at like what the box offices actually did for those movies. And Turtles was like one of the biggest things. Like that just kicked it off to everyone. If you weren't already into the comic, the movie spread it to kids everywhere.
Well, you said Batman came out before that, right?
Yeah, just by 1 year.
Before.
Barely a year, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that kicked it off.
Yeah, and then Turtles makes it a trend. Like it happens immediately afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Superman movies. Now, I don't know if the 1984 Supergirl. I remember seeing that on TV. I feel like I guess it was released.
I have no clue. I just know it didn't make any money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the box office was less than half of the budget, but I guess it went to TV pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was only Superman. So from 1978 through 1987, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Superman movies if you include Supergirl.
And like no competition.
Yeah. Yeah, and like nothing else. And really only the first 2 were good. Third one was kind of cute, but campy.
Flit actually is a good question. Fizz was talking about the mask, but Flit wants to know or wonder how many people knew of the comics versus the cartoon when it came to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I didn't. When the cartoon came out, I had no idea it was a comic book. But of course, when did it come out? When I was like 7? Oh. Let's see, when did the cartoon... 1987, so I was 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely did not read any... was that Dark Horse? Or did they have their own?
They were independent.
Okay. But it was a pretty dark comic book.
Yeah.
I did not know it existed.
I didn't even know it was cartoon when I was a kid at first. Like it took a while because the reruns weren't playing all the time or anything like that. So being somebody who was born in the 90s, the movie was the first thing I ever experienced. Because that one, and I think I remember the third one coming out. But I would have been too young to remember the second one coming out. But so the first and the second pretty much just always existed to me. Since they came out like the year before I was born and then like the year I was born. Maybe it was the year after. I don't remember. It might have been 92. I don't remember how close it was because I wasn't cognizant. But I might have remembered Turtles 3. As far as I know, all of those movies just kind of always existed as a kid. And it wasn't until maybe I was 10 that the old cartoons started rerunning. And by then, they started like making new cartoons.
Yeah, that to me sucked compared to the originals. But no, yeah, it came out. I mean, I had watched Transformers from the beginning, which came out 3 years earlier, and before that, all the cartoons were like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Smurfs, Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Then they came out with this one that had a humongous title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was just like at least what I remember was the phenomenon was like, why are there so many words? It's like, wait, they're teenage, but they're also turtles.
Yeah, what is this?
Like,
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, which everyone just called He-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
But did have a lot of
that
words.
was the funny thing about it. Yeah, I mean, I just remember that, thinking that the funny thing about it was just how many different
And then started a whole
descriptors.
craze, right? Because that show was so popular that everybody needed their own turtles. So then you start having like Biker Mouse from Mars or stuff like that, Like everybody had their own weird mutant animal-like group that was fighting evil villains. Street Sharks.
Yeah. I don't remember too many shows that were like a team of some sort of animal.
Extreme Dinosaurs.
Yeah, like fighting crime or something. Wasn't too much of that.
Yep, even Battletoads was essentially that in game form. They pretty much just made a competitor to the Turtles.
Yeah. Which I never played, or I didn't play until much later and found out how awful it was.
What, Battletoads? I love Battletoads. Battletoads is great. I grew up playing
Well, it has
Battletoads on the NES.
Yeah. It has problems.
Yeah. Oh, no, it definitely does. Like, there's a whole point where, not to get into a video game tangent, but on the NES version, in like level 11, when you have to like be riding the serpents up, that the second player controller will just lock. Like, you don't have controls of the character anymore, and they just fall to their death off of the dragon instead of platforming keeping up. And it's just like awful. That's just an issue with the game.
And the fact that basically you can't, like, having a second player is a detriment, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
In that spot. But also, like, there's a lot of bosses, including the final boss, where it's easier to beat it if you have the second player. So it's like the real key is to basically use the shortcuts to get to the last level, and then have the other player tag in as you're going. Because the only time you could tag in that game is when the next level is loading in. There's like a little map screen that shows the dots, and have the person tag in to help you with the final boss. That's the way to do it.
there you go. Whereas the TMNT video game was like practically perfect in every way.
I only actually like Turtles in Time. I don't like the original one.
Well,
Yeah.
you were too young.
But Turtles in Time is great.
Yeah, it was good. But when it came out, it was like, it just dominated the arcades. It was kind of like Dragon's Lair,
Yeah.
in that it was just like completely different from anything else that had come before.
Well, I think like being able to play the sequel, and also other games that came out immediately afterwards, it does point out just like in a similar way how badly made the first one was. Like, I'm sure it stood out to people, but man, those hitboxes are balls.
Yeah, we didn't really notice. Because it was just like, oh my gosh, it's like this animation where you hit the guy and he splat onto the wall, and it was amazing.
Yeah. But Fizz bringing up that the cartoon and the comic were nothing alike. The movie, on the other hand, while it does take a lot of liberties with the plot, is a lot closer to the comic than the cartoon ever was. It was still very child or family friendly. I would say it was more so than child friendly. It wasn't necessarily aimed at children. It was like general audiences. The whole family could go and enjoy the Turtles. No, obviously marketing was aimed at children with the Turtles tours and everything. But like it had a certain grit and like darkness to it that was more akin to the comic than the bright and colorful Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked. In fact, I know people love the old cartoon show, and I do too. I have a great respect for it, watching reruns later. But to me, it's not even close to as good as the movie, or even the comic, because there's just something about something that respects you as a kid, that's willing to get into that gritty space, you know?
Yeah, they were definitely unafraid to just be like, you know what, we're gonna have a bunch of people in these big plastic suits or rubber suits, whatever they were, and their mouths don't quite move right or whatever. But
well, the first one,
you know what?
they kind of
This is what kids want to see,
because the heads for the suits were full like radio controlled animatronics that they just like didn't have access to after the first one, which is a shame because like 2 and 3 they just do not have the control for it that the first one did. But it looks so good having somebody like piloting these animatronics off screen while they were doing their lines and everything.
Yeah, it was back when they weren't seemingly embarrassed to like put this stuff on the big screen.
Yeah,
you know, and then they change the suits and stuff for superheroes, and you know, they change the characters so they're not, I guess, quite as goofy or over the top as they are in the comic books. And it's like, no, we want what's in the comic books, you know?
And it was also, I think that's the best Casey Jones ever was in those movies.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character from the Turtles. I love Casey Jones. And I like specifically him and Raphael's kind of like rivalry buddy relationship with each other is really good. That line is like, cricket? You gotta know what a crumpet is before you know a cricket.
I felt like they well, you know, it's hard to tell because I only watched the original cartoon when I was a kid, but there was always like, well, I'll just say April never seemed to take to Casey Jones very much in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like she thought he was just a weird, violent weirdo and didn't really...
To be fair, he is a weird, violent weirdo.
Yeah, she seemed to like the Turtles more, but in the movie it seemed like there was, you know, kind of like a romantic thing going on.
And again, I think that is quite a bit closer to how it is in the comics.
Probably.
But it's kind of like, that's a trope, especially in noir settings than anything, where you have like the classier, which in this case, April does represent like the classier woman. She's got like this job as a reporter and everything, who kind of is disgusted by the rougher guy, but kind of ends up falling for him at the same time. That's like a very common trope that happens in those type of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like Casey Jones has to be super strong because those turtles cannot weigh any less than 300 pounds. And with his cricket bat, was it the cricket bat that sent him flying? One of his objects, it might have been the hockey stick, but he ends up actually lifting Raphael off the ground in his swing, and he goes back like a few feet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what made him, I guess, a worthy sort of ally, was that he could hold his own just as well as they could.
Yeah.
Even though he had no superpowers, he wasn't a mutant, he didn't have...
Well, they say he has no superpowers, but he's got to be super strong.
Yeah.
To some minor degree.
Just from working out, man. It's just like One Punch Man. He just kind of...
He's just there in the underpass, pulling himself up on the concrete all day long, hanging out at the train yard, doing whatever. You forget Casey's strength. What's that hockey stick made of? Flit says. That's also true. Like, why did that just snap?
That's
the titanium.
I feel like I feel like it had to have been the hockey stick. That's sort of the iconic weapon of choice, and it never.
He pulled out like 3 or 4 different weapons in that fight, but the hockey stick was used.
Yeah.
I think he used a driver in that fight too. The cricket bat was used in that fight, obviously, because there's that line. And I think a regular baseball bat might have been used too. He basically had like a golf bag full of sports equipment as weapons with him.
Yeah. But did he have any golf clubs? That's the question.
I think he had a driver. I think that's it.
Okay. I would have thought like an iron would do better. But
I think an iron would do better, but a driver's a little more goofy and gimmicky.
Yeah, it's funnier.
Yeah, like, because the driver, it's a wood, so like the head's made of wood and the body's made of fiberglass. It's like, modernly they used to be made of wood. An iron would be far less likely to break.
Did they have fiberglass, drivers in 1980?
I think they've had them since like the late 70s.
87.
But it could have also, a lot of his equipment was old and cheap, right? It probably was just wood because that would have been cheaper than the fiberglass ones.
Yeah. Yeah, dude just comes out of nowhere with a hockey mask and just all this sports equipment.
No, but Mike, I was not aware that MeToons recently announced that they'd be showing the old series. I don't pay attention to MeToons or MeTV Tunes. And I don't wait for things to air anymore. If I want to watch something, I just watch it when I want to.
Yeah. I'm sure it's elsewhere.
Yeah. Fizz says Casey Jones has been the weirdest gimmick hero ever. He fights monsters with sports gear, and it isn't treated as a joke. And I agree with Joshua. That's why he's cool. Just runs around with long hair, hockey mask on, kind of like a Brooklyn attitude, and beats people up with sports equipment.
It's kind of a joke, but no more of a joke than
like anything else.
The whole show.
Yeah, like having giant turtles fighting crime. That's kind of also a joke.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing as the comic was incepted as a joke. Like, look at these ridiculous turtles running around being ninjas. Like, these huge things are ninjas fighting crime.
Yeah. Pick the slowest, most docile creatures we could think of.
Like, the important thing was that in universe, the joke is treated seriously. Like, it's a joke outside of it, but everything is genuine and serious in the universe. With some humor still. Like, they're cracking quips and stuff at each other. What if the turtles got exposed to the waste that made Daredevil? That's actually the origin of the turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened?
That actually is where the idea for the turtles came from. Even like everything about it is kind of a parody of Daredevil, right? So instead of having the hand, you have the foot. Splinter is just stick, right? So.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, the Foot Clan.
But it's great.
It's funny because
I like turtles more than Daredevil.
Game, yeah, in the video game, all the Foot Clan were robots, apparently, because they blew up.
Yeah,
and you killed them.
And I think that was mostly because of the cartoon show and different restrictions about killing people on children's TV and stuff like that. So it's like, well, we could kill whoever we want as long as they're robots. It doesn't matter.
But were they robots in the cartoon, like the original cartoon?
I'm pretty sure
they were.
But like that's been a rule for a long time. Even like to Samurai Jack did the same thing. It's like as long as the enemy's a robot, you're allowed to kill them.
Yeah. I thought they just never actually killed anyone in the show, in the original cartoon. Joshua says that Casey Jones was kind of a joke in the 80s cartoon. He's like Judge Dredd attacking people for minor offenses.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but like we said, I mean, he wasn't any more of a joke than the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, he's cool though, right? Like this is like a grunge street youth. That's all he is. I mean, he's an adult now, but he still acts like he's a youth that grew up on the streets or whatever. And he just like wears normal torn up clothes and uses the same sports equipment he did when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
He's like almost definitionally, without having to go to the extremes, an anti-hero, right? And it's in the way that like everything about him is antithetical of what you would think a hero would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he was like definitely a over the top violent vigilante. I feel like they were always trying to get him to calm down. Like I think when they first ran into him in the cartoon, they were like trying to stop it, and they thought he was a criminal.
Yeah. It would turn out that like he was never as bad as what Raph would become, especially in the comics. Like Raph was more like the Punisher than anyone as things continued, because he had like anger issues. Yeah. Violence was his name.
They never really explored that in the original cartoon, though.
No, I think they explored it in later ones, though. Yeah.
I mean, he'd kind of pop off or whatever, but
it was more just having attitude never got in the original cartoon.
Yeah. I never got the impression that he was like,
Same in the movie, too. Like, his attitude was even then mostly at, like, his brothers and stuff than it was anywhere else. Like Mikey for being a goofball and.
You want to read that?
No, is Raph more like Wrath? Am I right? Says Flip.
Indeed.
What's weird is I think I started to like Raph more than the others as I got older. But for most people, it's like the other way around. When I was younger, my favorite was always Mikey. In fact, actually, now that I'm older again, I think I've moved back to Mikey.
My favorite was always Donatello. Because, he did machines.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I just think Mikey was the funny one. I mean, they all had their jokes and stuff, but like, Mikey was the funny one. Your little class clown.
Pretty much, yeah. I was just fascinated by the bizarre pizzas that they usually had, either at the end of the show or the beginning or both.
Ninja
just remember
pizza.
Like peanut butter and pickles.
Gone without a trace. Kind of want to watch the movie. It's been maybe 8 or 9 years since the last time I watched that movie. I should see if it's on any of these networks.
Yeah, definitely. Joshua says his favorite was Leonardo because he's blue.
That's fair. Color coding, this is a perfectly fair reason to like a character.
Yeah. Just shows I thought Raph was cool when he was 6 because he's just so violent and therefore cool.
Yeah. I
concur. And Flit says Raph was his favorite because he was the angry one.
Well, that's why, like, talking about the violent and therefore cool or whatever. As I became a teenager, that's when I started getting more away from Mikey and into liking Raph, because you're like, oh man, but he's the one that's like actually willing to beat anybody up. And that was probably like that maybe until my mid-20s, and I went back and started watching this stuff again. It's like, man, I just really like Mikey. I think Mikey's the coolest out of all of them.
Yeah, I think I liked Donatello for the purple mask as much as the nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Just liked his purple for some reason. I would normally like blue, but Leonardo is such a killjoy
Dork.
all the time.
Like, not in the way, like, Donnie's a nerd. Leo is so stuck up his butt about, like, being the goody
Yeah.
two-shoe and everything that he's kind of a dork.
Yeah. Well, did you see what they announced on Yen Press's X?
I have
account?
no idea what that is. What's going on?
They're releasing a prelude manga of Frieren.
Oh, okay. Is that done
With,
by the same creator or somebody else doing
Somebody else under the supervision
it? Okay.
of Kanehito Yamada.
Because it's kind of hard to do that while continuing the story at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So different. Well, wait. I guess it's just one. Anyway, I don't know, but it's basically prequel 5 short stories.
Okay.
Are prequels.
I've said the entire time that I'm more interested in what happened during their journey than them following it. Though I'm very interested in like the growth of these two kids, specifically like Shark and Fern. But that's about it so far.
It looks like it doesn't go that far back in time.
Oh,
It looks like it goes to the backstory of Lavina and Kane.
okay. So it's still during the era that we're currently in. I get
Yeah,
it because
just
the mangaka still wants to like filter us the story from what happened back in the day through the main story.
Yeah. And it looks like more about young Fern and a story about Aura, the guillotine.
Mm.
That's talk about fan service.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because that character is like barely even important outside of the fact that like everyone loves her for some reason.
I know. She's like, she shows up for like a very short amount of time.
What, like, I think her screen time in the manga is like 3 chapters, right? And it's still just back and forth while the other two are fighting the demons before the actual big ending.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll get into how she built up her army of undead armor, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they should do a crossover with Delicious in Dungeon, where what's his name? Leah? What's the main character?
Laos.
Laos. Yeah, where he goes and tries to eat all of her living armor.
No, I don't know if that'd be a good idea, but I like it when some stories are continued by other people or expanded, as long as they have the right supervision.
Yeah.
So far, even just the little bit that I've read from Yashihime, half demon princesses, the manga was a lot better than the anime, which came first in this case, because Rumiko Takahashi has had a lot more supervision over the development of the manga. As long as like the original creator has editorial oversight over the thing, I think it's a pretty good idea. Because like, if you're the one who's drawing the comic, there's only so much you can do. But if you're just making sure people are following your vision, there's a lot more you can spread yourself out thinner.
Yeah. The original Dragonlance Chronicles books were all written, and several of the other series, sequels, were all written by the same 2 authors, Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss, I believe.
Yeah.
But I have a whole collection, and half of them are written by other people, and they're all very good. But you can, it's kind of fun because you can definitely tell, they just have different styles.
Yeah, different voices.
Different ways of speaking. And as long as they still follow the, general, as long as they respect the world and the characters. It's fun to read other people's takes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's I think over half of Tom Clancy's stuff is like that. Somebody we were talking about before, where people have continued working on his stories on behalf of his estate. Half of the Hitchhiker's books, right? There's 6 Hitchhiker's books, but only 3 of them were written by Douglas Adams.
I thought it was 4. I thought there was 4. No, I don't know.
I thought there was 6. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that only the first 3 were written by Adams.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying I thought he wrote the first 4.
Oh no. He only wrote 3.
Oh, okay. Well, goes to show. I mean, I read the 4th one. I don't know if I read the 5th or 6th, but it seemed just as good to me.
Yeah, it happens all the time. If you're an actual fan of the work and you want to respect the person's vision, it's not that hard to continue it. You just have to take your own ego out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Also, writing. It's so much easier to just make more if all you do is writing. Like I've said before, I could pump out a book in a month if that's all I was working on was that book. And that's multiple drafts of the book because I could get one done in like a week. But like other things, if you're sitting around and you're trying to like draw comics or whatever, that stuff takes forever. It just, even if you're fast, right? 20 pages of a comic does not equal the same as the amount of manuscripting I can do in the same amount of time.
Speaking of fast writers, did you see the the appearance, I guess at a con or something, of Brandon Sanderson and George R.R. Martin, where somebody, I guess they were on a panel together, and somebody right in front of the other guy, right in front of Martin, asked Brandon Sanderson if he would finish the the Game of Thrones books for him.
Rude.
I know, or basically said if George R.R. Martin died before he finished them, would Brandon Sanderson finish them up?
That's even ruder.
Like, yeah. He was like, not that's. He didn't answer. He just kind of gave a non-answer.
Well, the only polite answer to be like, well, if he wanted me to, right? If it was in his will and he wanted me to.
Yeah. He was just like, I hadn't even thought about that. That's last thing on my mind. Oh, and then Martin just, I think, like right after that question, just got up and left, which I don't blame him.
I wouldn't either. Like, that is such an awful thing to ask.
Where people have no tact. It was still pretty funny though.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't say I have a ton of respect for Martin, but I don't disrespect him either. And I understand the issue that he has with wanting to finish it, because he's kind of written himself into a corner. It's his own fault, but it can be tough to navigate the situation is. And no matter what he puts out, it's probably going to get backlash regardless. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to end it in a way that minimizes the backlash. Yeah, he didn't just write himself into a corner in the fiction. In real life, he wrote himself into a corner too.
Yeah, the thing is he downplayed magic so much.
Yeah.
That he can't even use it as a Deus Ex Machina kind of a thing. Like, this person comes to life because of magic. Well, he has one person come back to life, but it's special case.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's because it was his own fault. That, and I think this came out in an interview. He didn't realize how important Snow was to the story until after he killed him.
I guess, but I mean, did he kill him and bring him back to life in the same book? Or,
I don't recall exactly. But he's even
Maybe
said several
not.
times that one of the reasons why it's taking so long to make it is he knows where the destination is, but he doesn't know the road to get there, right? So throughout all of these books, he's kind of been walking down a road and meeting like conjunctions as he gets there.
Yeah. But he basically got lost, so
Yeah.
who knows? He may never finish it.
Flip maintains that Martin will never finish the series because him not finishing the series is the only thing that keeps him relevant.
I think if he had a way to finish it that he could think of, he would.
Yeah.
I don't think it's intentional. I think he screwed himself.
Especially because like he created such a big world that to maintain relevance, he could just write spin-off books, you know, like earlier in the history. He's written some short stuff that's earlier in the history, but like his thing is so popular that he could easily keep relevance. I think he's actually just afraid to finish it. Yeah.
I think it's like sometimes when I'm playing video games and I kind of get stuck and I don't know where to go next, and I'll just like set it down for like a couple of years. Maybe come back to it.
Well, I think he's afraid not just because of like what other people think, but what he might think. Like, I don't even know if he'll be happy with the ending at this point.
Yeah. You know what? Fitzgerald is absolutely right. Game of Thrones is barely a fantasy world. It's more like a political drama that is set in a fake medieval-esque country. Yeah.
It's low fantasy for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
there are dragons.
He didn't really. Yeah, but
and
undead.
Undead.
He didn't originally want to have dragons, or just kind of barely have magic.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, but
I think it was always supposed to be like this very grounded low fantasy from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say it's not a fantasy world. He said it's barely a fantasy world. I'd have to agree with that.
My problem is like my brain doesn't compute the terms barely a fantasy world. Either something's a fantasy world or it isn't.
I mean, it is a fantasy world in that it doesn't actually exist. But it's not a, like you said, it's particularly grounded genre.
I agree with Joshua though. He says, "I hate Q&A panels because there's always that one guy with the awkward question." Absolutely. Every time, sometimes multiple. Sometimes like there's like I'm not answering that, or there have been times where people have had to be like escorted out from security because of the questions that they decided to answer because they just had to be that guy.
Yeah, that's. I don't know about that. I would just say we're not going to answer that. Move on.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think most of the time that's how it starts, but then there's like the dude's just too obstinate to leave the microphone.
Yeah. Then you gotta throw him out. I think Flit's right. It's too hyped. It's like every day. I mean, now it's like too late, but for a while it was like every day that went on is like if you just finished it by now,
it'll never be as good as the expectations.
Just like the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he says, Duke Nukem Forever. Listen, I don't even think that one isn't as good as the expectations. I think that one, your expectations could be low and you'd still be disappointed by Duke Nukem Forever. I was going to say like Kingdom Hearts 3 was so hyped for so long, it could never be as good as the expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Duke Nukem would have still been like a mediocre game like forever if it came out 10 years before it came out. Wouldn't have been awful. It would have just been mid.
Yeah. Sure, this is, and I think isn't it a Song of Fire and Ice? I don't know. I don't want to be pedantic. Main focus is realistic politics rather than fighting whites. That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the focus.
There's a lot of fantasies where the politics are the main focus, like Dune. And Dune, they market it as sci-fi. It's more of a fantasy than sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's basically magic in Dune.
All I have to say is, if he does finally, I feel like there's 2 or 3 books to go, but if he does ever finish the series, it better sure as hell have a better ending than the show.
See, that's the problem too, because he said that it's going to more or less end the same way. It's just how they're going to get to the ending is going to be different.
Yeah. I hate that the Undead Army, plot ends in Winterfell. Like,
yeah.
That, however it is, that should have been the final fight. The final thing being, Dany was just, ugh. Who cares? The far more interesting plot ended like 2 episodes ago. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, actually, the best way to end it would be to never find out who wins the Game of Thrones, right? Like, you just defeat it.
Yeah.
Technically, everybody goes back to their lives. There is still, like, war and stuff going on, but, like, it's up to the imagination of the audience to figure out who wins of, like, the survivors.
I mean, I seriously wanted to see the Night King in the Red Keep.
Yep.
Like, oh well.
Anyway. Oh well, we're at the end of the show.
Agent of Street.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you did, share it out with your friends. Get more people in here. We'll have a good time. And if you really enjoyed it, you can always give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitoriumlive. Goes to the Soda Fund, really helps us out. And we will see you guys no later than Thursday.
See ya.